Okay, welcome into KC Sports Tonight, Monday, February 16th. Marlia Campbell here with Katie Marr. Katie, yikes. Over the last about 24 hours now, if you're watching this live, a snowball effect coming out of Lawrence, Kansas, starting with Jerome Tang. Where did I say?
You said Lawrence.
Not Lawrence. Definitely not Lawrence. Things are peachy in Lawrence. Despite losing by 18 on Saturday, Kansas jumped up in the rankings, number 8. Manhattan, though, much worse.
Yeah.
Much worse. Firing Jerome Tang yesterday, again around this time. At 7:30, he was allowed to meet with the team and kind of have his parting comments, I suppose. Gene Taylor comes in after that, answers a few questions, tells the guys how the next steps are going to go, and holds a press conference at 8:30 where he tells us Tang has been fired with cause, which they are circling back to those comments after the Cincinnati game on Wednesday night. And Katie, I know you were reporting on this today, so I'll let you kind of take it from there. How the last, goodness,
last 30
specifically
minutes?
couple hours, have gone.
Yeah. So we find out late last night, Tang's team tells ESPN that he will be fighting back. And he disagrees with the characterization of his termination, I believe is the word that was used. And just about 30 minutes ago, we found out that he has retained counsel. He's hired 2 pretty big shot lawyers in the sports law world, one of which was working on Brian Kelly's buyout, and he was owed $54 million by LSU, and then the other working with Trinidad Chambliss to get him his 6th year of eligibility, which he's probably going to get.
Notable cases.
Yeah, pretty big cases in college athletics right now. And it's notable that both of them were positive for the person in Tang's shoes. So he's retained some pretty hotshot lawyers, and they have released a statement to ESPN, and this is what they have said. Get your popcorn out. If K-State's president and AD really think the school was embarrassed by recent events, that's nothing compared to the embarrassment that both of them are about to experience. That is by Tom Mars, one of the lawyers. The other's name is Bennett Spire, and that is what they told Pete Hamill of ESPN.
Wild. I mean, yikes.
Buckle up.
And they're giving Gene Taylor a couple days, is what they said. Do you want to explain that a little bit?
I believe the exact word that they used was come to their senses. They're giving them a few days before they ultimately file a lawsuit. So, if you actually look on the one guy's Twitter, Tom Mars, he's been tweeting a little bit. And here is another one of his most recent tweets. Says, it seems to me that making false statements and innuendo about a head coach for the specific purpose of avoiding a school's buyout obligation would constitute actual malice.
All this to say, we are far from done with this situation. K-State still 6 games to go in the regular season, which concludes with Kansas
to Allen Fieldhouse.
In the season finale in Allen Fieldhouse. And then, of course, presumably one game in Kansas City for the Big 12 tournament. Unlikely to be more, but you never know. Such is March. Katie, I know you also listened into Bill Self's press conference today, which was in Lawrence. That was just kind of his routine weekly presser previewing Wednesday's game, but he did comment on Tang as well.
Yeah, his actual answer was about over 2 minutes long. A lot of it was kind of filled with some dead air, I think, because he was just trying very, very hard to choose his words carefully. And he said a few times over, I shouldn't have an opinion about this. I'm not involved in this whatsoever. Over half of it was spent talking about like the lawyers and the legality of it all, and this is why people have agents, is what he said. But he started by saying something that I think would surprise a lot of fans. He started by saying he likes Jerome Tang, and then added on that you never want to see a coach get fired.
Which to add context, the snub of whatever was it 2 years ago now when they go through the high five lines.
It was 2 years ago.
Yeah. Has seemed to be some bad air between the guys, but apparently they're in good stands now.
Apparently they like each other.
All this to say, what an insane situation. You and I obviously don't have legal background. Neil went to law school, so we need to bring Neil in here at some point. He's off today.
We need counsel.
But the whole census of this kind of centers around the language of embarrassing a university that's in his contract. K-State and Gene Taylor are arguing his comments Wednesday night, where if you haven't seen them by now, I would be very surprised, but he says...
Watch any of my stories today.
Yeah, he
they're
says
in there.
Something to the effect of, none of these guys deserve to wear this uniform, this is embarrassing, this is ridiculous, and a lot of these guys won't be back here next year. That obviously got picked up in national discourse. I think it made it on PTI.
It did.
So that's what they're saying caused the quote-unquote embarrassment in breach of contract, avoiding the $18 million buyout. So, man, this is kind of a interesting textbook case for folks in law school right now. But we'll see. I mean, all this to say, K-State plays tomorrow night, taking on Baylor, Tang's former team of a long time, 2 decades
20 years.
plus. Yeah, and...
I'm interested to hear Scott Drew's post-game comments being there.
Yes.
In Manhattan.
Tip-off's at 8, and K-State's associate head coach will serve as interim in the meantime. But one that we will... This broke yesterday, but we are far from done covering this with a legality down the line. And again, we're talking about almost $19 million here. So,
yeah. And it's not pocket change.
And
today I also talked to the president of the KC Catbackers.
Oh, yeah.
Who... went on to say, like, he echoed what all the fans are feeling right now, or have been feeling this season, which is that, like, what they thought was a dream starting year one of the Tang era with the Elite Eight run and all that quickly became a nightmare, and it was just never going to be recreated. That magic. Give Marquise Noel and Keontae Johnson more flowers, I suppose. Is kind of the overall feeling of most of the fan base. I'm not going to speak for every single fan. I'm sure there are plenty of fans who did like Jerome Tang still and believed in him and all this stuff. But, I mean, the fact of the matter is there were no high school recruits coming in. They have no one for their 2026 class next year. It's going to be all primarily transfers, unless they can get anybody in high school last minute. And then just the overall vibe of the fan base. You know, they have the Big 12 tournament coming up here in Kansas City in just a few weeks. And he flat out told me, like, no one's excited for it, but, like, they'll still be there to support because that's what Purple does. They show up for their team, but it's going to be weird.
That's been kind of the conversation that's taken a sidestep today, I think, with the legal proceedings or kind of the swirlings of those starting. This is a head coach who was the Naismith Coach of the Year in 2023, 3 seasons ago, runner-up for AP Coach of the Year, took this team to the Elite Eight. Steady decline. Now they're 1-11. That's tied for their worst start in the Big 12 era. And their only win came against Utah, who was the technically last place team with the same record because you have the head-to-head tiebreaker, I suppose. But yeah, just 3 seasons, back-to-back seasons now of continuous losing records, I suppose.
Yeah. No NCAA tournament trips.
Yeah, no NCAA tournament trips. And then this week kind of seemingly went off the rails with the comments Wednesday night. And then Saturday about the players doing the scouting reports. So was that enough to fire him, though, and void the contract? We will find out in the court system, it appears, or with a settlement down the line.
Whenever that happens.
More to come. Speaking of Lawrence, jumped the gun on this. KU, again, lost by 18 against Iowa State. Darren Peterson, 10 points, no assists, no rebounds in 23 minutes. Yet they climbed 2 spots in the AP poll today, up to number 8.
Thank you, Arizona, for losing twice.
After a big win over Arizona, and Arizona losing not just to KU, but to Texas Tech, their first and second losses of the season coming in a span of a couple of days. Got a couple more this season. Katie, to me, are they in the running to win the Big 12 regular season title, mathematically?
I would argue that it's for sure still possible because you also have to look at the schedules of the other teams who are up there in that, like, top 4 with them right now. They're all just beating each other. Like, I showed you a meme yesterday of, like, all their mascots, like, laying in hospital beds because they're all just beating each other up right now.
Yeah.
And I think it was Kelvin Sampson who said it on Saturday. Iowa State doesn't lose at home. Kansas doesn't lose at home. Arizona's not losing at home, and Houston doesn't lose at home. So it's true. Like, these are teams who know how to defend home court. They're the 4. If you want to put Texas Tech in there as well and make it top 5, they're the top 5 best teams in the Big 12. BYU, their season campaign might be a little out of that by now with the tearing of the ACL by Richie Saunders. But yeah, like they don't lose at home. You can we say it all the time with the Big 12, win at home, try to steal wins on the road. KU wasn't going to do that, especially not after beating Iowa State earlier in the season. They wanted revenge. They go into one of the most hostile environments in the Big 12 in the nation, in Ames. And yeah, anyone who's surprised by that, honestly, like they had won 8 games in a row. They were going to do. You kind of have to lose sometimes. Like,
and playing up in Ames is tough. But they've lost 4 years in a row now up there.
Yeah.
You look at KU's schedule down the line. At Oklahoma State, they're 4-8 on Wednesday. Home against Cincinnati, who beat K-State by 30, if you don't remember from the implosion
from
of
Wednesday
night.
That's how bad Cincinnati is. That's what sparked this.
Yeah, honestly. The domino effect that game caused. Then you're hosting number 2 Houston. You're at number 4 now, Arizona. So that's kind of your trip up week. And then you have Arizona State on the road, and you round out with K-State at home, which should theoretically both be wins as well. Who knows? Up in the air. Certainly mathematically you're in the running. We'll see how things kind of shape up. But to me, you have those top 5 teams. You have Houston, Arizona, Iowa State, Kansas, and Texas Tech. BYU slipping out in 6th now. Top 4 seeds get a double bye in the Big 12 tournament, which is huge when you're playing that many games in a row. And to me, Big 12 tournament's going to be huge in determining, this is obvious, NCAA seeding, because you have these teams that are going to be fighting for 1, 2, 3, and 4 seeds all facing each other. I mean, those are going to be the decisive head-to-head matchups that'll, give the selection committee kind of their guidance moving forward. So you do not want to be in that 5th spot come Big 12 tournament time, playing on the second day. And I mean,
especially if you're KU with Darren Peterson, who we don't know how healthy he'll be. That
longevity has been an issue. Yeah. So we'll see. Again, to me, you have 4 games against teams in the bottom half of the conference in your last 6. You have Houston at home. If you can steal that one and you lose to Arizona on the road, fine. I think finishing 5-1 should put you in a good spot. But time will tell. We'll see. And then, Katie, you have another interview tomorrow, right?
I do.
Okay, great. Was that locked in?
Before we put it out there.
Yeah. With the KU women's team, because before we get to the Big 12 men's tournament, we have the Big 12 women's tournament in 2.5 weeks from now, starting the 4th.
Jeez.
Yeah. It'll be here before you know it. KU women and K-State women, both looking like they'll play day 1. Maybe one can climb to day 2 in the next couple of days here. But going to be a fun tournament to watch, partly because of a pair of local athletes for the Jayhawks.
Samaya Nichols and Julia Davis are 2 of the most fun players to watch in the Big 12. Julia Davis, if she doesn't win Freshman of the Year, it's rigged.
She's won 6 in a row.
6 in a row each week for the last 6 weeks. That's tying Aoka Lee's all-time record in the Big 12. And we know Aoka Lee is a legend in her own right. So tomorrow I'll be chit-chatting with Samaya and Julia for just a super exciting feature to watch out for in the future about their impact on KU, why they chose KU, why they decided to stay local. Samaya is a Shawnee Mission West grad, and Julia is Blue Valley North. And they're 2 of the best players in the entire conference. If Olivia Miles wasn't going off at TCU, like, one of them would be a clear favorite for, like, Player of the Year in the Big 12. They're 2 great girls who are deserving of all the attention that comes to them, obviously, but because they're hometown heroes at the same time. And then, like, they love KU, and they love the Jayhawks, and they love the environment that's being built there. And, like, this team is, like, I think Lynette Woodard said it best when we talked to her, like, a week or so ago, the day that she had a big, cool ceremony for her at the KU game, like 2 Saturdays ago, I think it was. She said it best, like, this team is, like, one more star away from, like, figuring it out and getting it together. They almost upset TCU on the road. That's crazy. So yeah, super excited about that. And then they're going to be so fun to watch in the Big 12 tournament, getting to do that. Like, it won't be Samaya's first time, but it'll be Julia's first time playing in that environment at T-Mobile Center. So
yeah, I think 4 of their last 7 losses in the Big 12 have come by a single possession. They lost.
These are close games.
Or close. They lost by 5 to 16th ranked Texas Tech, 3 to Colorado, 2 to TCU's 12th ranked on the road. So they're close, and they have the star power to get over that hump right now, I think, in the Big 12 tournament. What we always talked about when I played in college was, I was never on a team that had an at-large bid coming for them. Even our conference in the Mountain West at the time, you were lucky to have, you have your conference tournament winner who's going to the NCAA tournament, then maybe you have another at-large bid.
Yeah.
But come Big 12 tournament time, everyone's 0-0. You have to win 4 or 5 games, and you're going to the NCAA tournament, which you can get hot at any given time.
Yep.
The K-State men are probably not going to do that, realistically. So that conversation becomes a little bit trite when it comes to, no offense, I guess kind of teams like that. Teams
the
like
K-State men and the KU women are in very different positions.
Teams like the KU women who are 6-9 right now. That doesn't sound great. They can be sleepers come conference tournament time. As with K-State, third youngest roster in program history. They're 7-7. They're the team that may be able to slide up to a day 2 game. But 2 teams to watch. If you're in Kansas City, don't be, I guess, taken aback by the records of these teams or the seeding of where they may end up, because Samaya Nichols, 18 points and 5 rebounds per game. Julia Davis has been the Big 12 Freshman of the Week 6 straight times, as you mentioned. So should be some fun basketball. Plus, non-local teams, you have a lot of talent across the league. JC Hoyt, who was with UMKC for a while. She's leading Oklahoma State.
I love her fashion.
Yeah,
she has the coolest sweaters and
she's
the cool
fun to
shoes.
follow. And I think there are 4 or 5 top 25 teams in the Big 12 for women who are going to be right here in our own backyard in Kansas City. So check that out. I know we have information online, kctv5.com, but tickets are already open for that. Okay, moving on to a conversation that we're going to have a lot more of over the next month or so. Free agency right around the corner.
Yeah.
This has been our first week without an NFL game ahead of us.
Watching KC Sports Tonight last night.
Yeah, it was our first Sunday without football since September.
Was there any, where's the Chiefs?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Other things are happening.
Well, big news today. Dolphins releasing Tyreek Hill. Frees up a bunch of cap space for them. Hill hoping to rehab that knee injury that he suffered kind of early in the season to be ready in time for next season. But he's on social media has hinted about dreams of coming back to Kansas City in the past. Obviously played for Eric Bieniemy. Who knows? That gets into a whole different conversation with cap space here in Kansas City, which has been tight historically. Certainly tight this season. But Tyreek Hill leaving to go to Miami so he could be the highest paid receiver in the league. Time will tell, but certainly an interesting little nugget to kind of keep in your back pocket as we head into free agency here soon.
Yeah. When you first look at that, I mean, when a Chiefs fan sees that, I feel like their first instinct is like, oh my God.
Oh, and then you
Tyreek Hill could come back. And then you're like, wait, do we have, I think Miami freed up $22 million a year in cap space by releasing him. The Chiefs don't have that. The Chiefs are the 3rd worst team over cap coming into this year. I think 3rd. I don't know if they have that. And then it comes down to, as a fan, are you going to believe that Magic can come back to the receiver room with Bieniemy in charge? That didn't happen this past year. Or maybe if this year is another bad year for the receiver room, maybe then you do have to go find a veteran somewhere. But 32 years old, I think Tyreek Hill is. So I don't think the Chiefs can do it.
A pretty brutal knee injury earlier this year. Chiefs bring in new wide receiver coach Chad O'Shea this year. So new offensive coordinator, expecting a lot of changes on offense. Will this be one of them? Unlikely, but hey, maybe this is a take that ages badly in a couple of weeks. Okay, moving on to our final topic of the day. Spring training down in Arizona. Heard from Bobby Witt Jr. today. Heard from John Sherman, who had a little bit of a funny quote when he said, I told one of my friends that, spring training was my favorite time of year. And then I said, well, playoffs are my favorite time of year, but this is my second favorite time of year.
But at least spring training is guaranteed every year.
That's true. But Royals hoping playoffs are guaranteed this year. Missed it by, it came down to, the last couple weeks this past year. I think that's as good as they could have played to not make the postseason, if that makes sense. They have the pieces. I was here, I think maybe either my first or second year at KCTV5 was when the Royals had the 106 loss season, and that felt like an afterthought when you're talking about the Royals in Kansas City. Last year kept us engaged through, August, early September. So I think they have the pieces to do it. They invested this offseason, bringing in Vinny on a 2-year deal, or I guess sustaining Vinny in Kansas City on a 2-year deal. Michael Garcia is healthy and participating in spring training workouts, which is huge. Noah Cameron back. I mean, you have the pieces, I think, to have an exciting year. It is very early, but another year of, I guess, optimism at this time of year.
Yeah, and it depends on, I feel like, those pieces just actually performing the way that they're expected to, because, I mean, that happened with a few of them last year. You know, bring in, like, Jonathan India, and he isn't having the season that he was expected to have until about halfway through the year. And then at just different points of the year, different guys. I mean, obviously they had to deal with a bunch of injuries to the pitching staff. I think the success of the team this year very much depends on how much the two young guys can kind of be that spark hitting wise, because I mean it's the same every year where the Royals have great pitching. Like, we're not concerned about the Royals pitching. It's the fact that they can get runs on the board and get people on base and score them, and bring them home. And Carter Jensen, and we saw him have that kind of breakout towards the end of the season there when, you know, the hopes of the playoffs were kind of, so they were like, let's see what the young guy can do. And Carter Jensen is, like, balling out. Jack Caglione, I think it depends on also if he can kind of have that breakout that, like, we expected him to have, but Carter Jensen ended up having instead, kind of. So I'm very interested to see if, you know, this offseason was good for them in that, right? Because that's really all they need. They just need that spark, and they just need a few more base hits and not leaving runners stranded. That's really just the only thing the Royals need to do to succeed.
Yeah, it'll be fun to watch full seasons for Jack Caglione, Carter Jensen, Noah Cameron, who we talked about, who was called up during the season last year. It feels like he's been with this team for a long time. But more to come. March 30th, opening day at the K. That's going to be on KCTV5, which we're so excited about. And we have 10 games on our air this season, so we have a list of those over on our website. Looking forward to that. Baseball will be here before you know it. Free agency is right around the corner. Big 12 tournament's coming up in 2 weeks, so we are kind of standing at the edge of a cliff, getting ready to jump into a very busy time of year. And then, the World Cup's right after that. So more to come. Looking forward to all of it, but we will be back here.
PTO?
Same time, same place tomorrow here on KC Sports Tonight.